Ladies and gentlemen, I won a chess tournament with a perfect score of 5 wins out of 5 games. And in this video, I'm showing you the 5th and final round of action where my opponent was my longtime rival, international chess master Arthur Gallagher, who also happens to be from Canada. And if you are wondering, yes, this is the first ever mobile camera recording on the GothamChess channel. I am currently at my hotel, not too far from Barcelona. And the reason I'm here is for a bunch of different chess events, the Clash of Claims, and my own unretirement chess tournament beginning in Madrid from June 10th to 15th. I'm recording this on this device so you can see what's on my Patreon. On the Patreon, I am analyzing all of these videos that I'm making from the tournament deeper, going into all of the games. I'm also uploading 2-hour-long Grandmaster lessons from my Road to GM, puzzles, and much more. And what you get is you also get vlogs. Like this. Let me show you the view from my hotel room. Look at that. This is on the Patreon, and so is my face, up close, as well as a bunch of Grandmaster lessons, a bunch of puzzle solving, a bunch of bonus content. So yeah, enjoy the 5th and final round of action.
Everybody was like, oh, there's this Arthur guy. I'm like, Gallagher?
Sorry? Yeah, sure. Thank you. I remember last time we met, 2019, right?
Yeah, in Texas.
Yes.
That was a game. Come on, bro. I was sitting here, I was like, have we ever played?
Yeah, we have. No, but you held that quite well, actually. 'Cause I definitely had that early advantage, but then I completely gave it up. But,
that's how it goes.
The funny thing is, though, I think that's like around the time when like your career really took off, right? Like after that, it skyrocketed. Like, good for you, man.
I was there with like some friends, and they were still like chasing the norms.
Yeah.
Are you playing at all? Like serious?
Nah, man. So I played my first tournament in 5 years, like in November.
How'd it go?
I got first.
Okay.
I played with like a GM,
Okay.
but I did prepare a little bit, so you know.
Bro, come on, you're like one of these young Canadian guys who was really good, and you gotta get a.
See, the thing is, it's like I had that potential, but then completely squandered it. You know what I mean?
Why?
Just objective.
Well, you're like 30, 31?
No, I'm 29, but I'm turning 30 in December. Yeah.
Yeah, I always remember you were like 94, 93.
Yeah, 94 December. So, but yeah, man. You know, I got just your typical software dev type of thing going on. You know, kind of the calm life type of deal. So.
I don't know. Is this not calm? This is like some good. You know, this is,
It's a typical Wednesday.
You in Toronto? You live here or?
I do, yeah. So I live downtown, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. You know, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, I've been fairly calm and quiet for the past like 5 or so years. Yeah, man. Good luck, bro.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
That was good banter. Now it's game time. E4, C5. He plays the Sicilian. He's playing very fast. I go for my line with bishop b5. I made a chessable course on this. Gotta play what I preach. He immediately grabs my bishop and kicks out my knight. And I like this line, but he won't stop playing really fast, which gets me a bit nervous already. And I know the idea here is to use my lead in development to bring out my queen, which is counterintuitive normally, but he doesn't have a b8 knight because he took my bishop with it. He plays queen c7. He plays this kind of like a Paulson Kahn Sicilian. I castle because that's got to be a good move, and he finally thinks because he's struggling a bit with his development. If he moves his dark squared bishop here, I'm going to take his pawn on g7. So he plays b5. This move makes a lot of sense, taking space. And now I'm thinking, like, do I get confrontational with him? Do I play more positionally? Where do I develop my dark squared bishop? How do I take advantage of this position? I like that his king is in the center. Maybe I put my rook opposite his king. Oh yeah, look at that. What's funny is I didn't remember I actually played this move. This is the cool thing about the voiceovers. Another cool thing is I can bring back the ambient noise. Okay, but let's quickly cut that out. It's a very high level game. Knight e7. The idea is to either develop the knight to c6, where the other knight would have wanted to be, or go to g6. Now, it's a closed game, and I have a lead in development. And I don't want to trade too much because his bishops will get active. But he is like 3 moves away at minimum from castling. So what do? I developed the bishop to g5. Actually, my idea here was to take the knight, believe it or not. Because if he takes with the bishop, I take his pawn on g7 with my queen. So I figured he's going to have to move his knight, and I really like where my bishop is. And I'm kind of baiting him into playing a move f6. And I actually kind of played on his ego a little bit here, because I know Arthur's a fighter. We've played 37 games against each other online, and it's something like 18 wins for me, 17 for him, or 16 for him, and some draws. So I'm like, is he gonna play f6? I know Arthur likes to fight. He can move his knight, and my idea was knight c6, knight to d5, which is a really nice idea. He moves his knight attacking my queen. I move the knight back into the center attacking his queen, and I'm actually covering the king escape squares that he has. And I'll analyze all of this in greater detail on my Patreon, which I probably shouted out at the beginning of this video. Seriously, check it out. Got like hours and hours and hours of GM lessons there. He doesn't play f6, which actually was the best move. I analyzed this game afterward. He plays d6, and right away I'm thinking, do I take his knight? Because he's defending it with his queen now, right? Do I take his knight, or do I bring my second rook to the center and attack that pawn? Do I push my e pawn in the center? Maybe not, because he's going to lock the center. I have a moment in this position. How do I strike? How do I capitalize on this lead in development, where I have all these pieces out? Does he have any targets? And a huge light bulb appears in my brain. I'm down about a minute at this point on the clock because of how fast he played the opening, and I realize he absolutely has a target. And he has a target which is accessible with something in my position. So I paused here. Critical moment. I'm going to take his knight, and I'm going to actually justify his last move. Is he really going to take this with the queen? Is he going to take it with the king? When he takes with the queen will leave a very important part of the board. And he is still several moves away from castling. Will he take with the king? Definitely what I was thinking during the game. King takes is a kind of a standard Sicilian move, but he takes with the queen. And now the queen has left the queen side, so I target it with a4. That is not a pleasant move to see. It's also a bit of a weird move because you expect a fight, you expect me to go down the middle, but suddenly the queen side is compromised. He takes. That immediately gives me more targets. Do I take with the rook? Do I take with the knight and try to jump in? Do I take with the queen and give a check? Oh, we're not doing any of that. We were going straight down the middle, but instead of going straight down the middle right away, he can't take, by the way, because pawn takes and I have this direct line with my rook. We make him make a move, and because we already opened up the A file, the sacrifice of the knight is very powerful. Queen a7 is a great move, trying to trade queens with me. I don't have a knight fork here, so I need to quickly calculate something which will give me a long-term advantage, right? An advantage into the endgame. So I play knight to b6, which is a fork, kind of. You know, I target his rook and his bishop. He pauses because he's like, all right, is there any counter shot here? He's just going to slide his rook over, but now he's going to realize my idea. My idea is to go straight down that A file and collect my bounty. Those pawns that I made weak a move ago, I split them, doubled them, and now I use this very nice knight trick, capitalizing on my lead on development. He plays rook b8. I mean, it was the only move, but he was hesitating because he really didn't want to do this. Now the only question is, do I take his bishop or do I take on a4 first? That was the only thing I was thinking about here. Do I go for a bishop trade and then take in the center with my knight on d4, trading the queens? I take with check because he has to respond with this move. And now the question is, do I take the bishop or do I take on a6? I do this, more forcing. Do I trade the queens? Do I take on a6? Do I go for the endgame queenless? Yes. Very nice decision by me. I'm very happy with this. And now I took, and I needed to play fast. I needed to get into his position, still capitalizing on my lead in development. I give him a check. He's got to move his king now. The question is where? You go forward, I start eating the pawns. You go back, your king gets stuck on the back rank. And again, we are using that lead in development. That is all we're doing. He goes to the back rank. I sense something's off about this move. But how do I take advantage? How do I get my knight in? Do I go down the center? Should I make a luft for my king? You know, like, should I play it slowly at this point? We're both probably under a minute. We do get some bonus time. I give him a check. Now he can't really move. How do I do? Okay, let's use the pawn. Now if he trades, I get in another piece. If he doesn't trade, he can't escape. He can take my pawn with his rook, but he starts trying to run away here. And I'm thinking, can he really do this? He wants to move his bishop and make a trade, but he can't because I have a check. So I check him back to the back rank again. And suddenly he realizes he has some problems there. I can't play pawn takes pawn. I mean, I can, but then he's going to block, but now my knight gets in. And he created a very big weakness with my rook and my knight. His rook and bishop are still not in the game. Time is ticking. If I take on f7, it's a fork of his rook and his pawn. So he's going to bring out his bishop, maybe. And he's flexing his really nice watch at me, by the way. I wasn't wearing a watch. What's he going to do? Bishop g7. As you can see, a blunder. His idea was this, but...
You moved your king. You moved your king.
Did I?
Yeah, when we traded on d7.
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My bad.
All good.
I was lost here, though. Fuck. Yeah.
And now he realizes he thought he could castle. His idea was to get his king to safety, but unfortunately, it's just over. It was mate the other way, and this way, it's a skewer.
Well done.
Yeah, I guess you got overextended in the beginning.
I don't even know, man. Like, I don't know the opening there.
I mean, you were playing so fast, I thought you did.
No, that's the 4 shots, man.
No, whenever we play online, it's always a pain in the ass.
No, yeah, I remember. Fuck, what's your username? I forget.
Well, it's just GothamChess. But I think I've played you on some like your chess ain't fun.
Yeah,
I've definitely played you on like the 5 burner accounts that I've used in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I know officially we probably have like 35 games on chess.com, and you have like maybe like a +7 or something like that. Yeah.
No, I always don't like playing you. Because I'm just like you fight. I'm like, you fight. But it's good. Yeah, but it's funny because like mentally I'm like no, you fight until the end.
Hello, it's me again, recording on the mobile camera. That was the story of how I went 5-0 at a chess tournament in an incredible pub called the Madison Avenue Pub in Toronto, Canada. And actually, this tournament re-inspired me to chase the Grandmaster title. I realized how fun chess can be if I'm relaxed, and I realized I do have the skills. Now, a quick word from our sponsors, myself. I analyzed all the games of this tournament in much greater detail on my Patreon. Now, I know, I've said that a million times, but I'm also uploading about 10 to 15 bonus games that I played that night. All of them were exciting, all of them were fun, trash talk was exchanged, and all of that is going on the Patreon as well as vlogs of the trip, and behind the scenes of my life, and much more. So, there's over 400 people on there already. Shout out to all of you, you're amazing. And if you don't want to sign up for any of that, June 10th to 15th is my unretirement tournament. Follow it along on this YouTube channel. This tournament in Toronto was what inspired that journey. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Parts 1 and 2 will be in the description as well as the Patreon. Now get out of here.